points to argue feasibility of the sector and benefit people in thousands and millions, not just 10, 5 entrepreneurs who can do design. So I'm not making a case against the textile industry, but I'm saying we have to textile for us. I think it is in what I call, what is generally called the circular economy. We import a lot of clothes and textile material here in Sierra Leone, and they're all around us in ton pieces. If we can help build an economy where we integrate them back into reproduction, so we circulate them, I feel that's one area where we have a very strong advantage, because we're not strong in producing cotton, but we have a lot of material around us that we can play with and then use rags or like $50 million markets, right? Even that, of that. But if we can create a few jobs, that's fine. I rather feel we should put potato, cashew, and things like that. We're better off focusing our energy there, because we can go and become globally known for those sectors. We may hardly never be known as the key sector for textile in the world, but it's not our best sector. We should be putting our Osman, what do you think?
I would actually also invite Lydia. A bit of a challenge hearing Lydia.
Like the agua, American agua, that allows countries to produce specific items that could be sold in America and other, elsewhere on the globe. And so countries seek to take advantage of that. Because, for example, if you take the textiles industry, there is huge opportunity to generate youth employment for, particularly for women, in the designing and then the manufacture of the clothing. And these are some of the opportunities that our governments, would like to take advantage of. And our advice is, yes, it's good, but whilst doing it, try to see how the forward and backward linkages of the value chain will work. That is why I started my talk on this from the upstream. How do we make sure that the industry benefits the local people? Not just creating jobs for the urban dwellers who will have opportunity to work in those industries, but also linking up with the rural communities where we can also grow cotton, and use the cotton to feed the industry. So you strengthen both the backwards and then the forward linkages to create a holistic industry. The market is there, it's huge. We can create opportunities for it, but how can we make our industry, competitive and sustainable? In Sierra Leone, we have a lot of challenges, as Ahmed said. Even for the industry, energy is one of the biggest challenges. How do we solve the energy problem to ensure that at least we can have a sustainable industry that can be reliable for deliveries? And when we have that, then we strengthen the linkages backwards. So at least we can have some of our young people who have not developed the skills to fit into the industry, to have roles to play along the same industry, the same value chains, wherever they find themselves. Even if it's in the rural community, they can be there, grow cotton, pick cotton, aggregate cotton, clean cotton, supply cotton, and make money. So that's how, as a government, you look at it. How do we prop up the industry in a manner that we have a strong linkage, between the industry and agriculture to make it useful and sustainable?
Thank you, Mr. Yassim. I actually think that this year we also experienced a major world event or occurrence. It's not just an event that can help us also to identify the areas of our vulnerability. And this is the Russia-Ukraine war. I think because of the Russia-Ukraine war, we could see clearly the dependencies that we have to other economies and where we are vulnerable. And maybe focusing on those and identifying the areas where we can actually run interventions within our countries will help us to identify the sectors that we should start maybe thinking about focusing on, and then support those with additional research and assessment to actually see if it's possible to make a difference that is feasible and scalable, like Hamid was saying. I'd like to take this time now to open to the floor for any questions. I'm not sure if Lydia is now available. Maybe she can finish. there for us. But we have to be willing to take some level of initiative to go and explore what is possible before we dive in and start doing some work to improve the value chains around us, particularly in the agriculture systems. I'm opening the floor to questions. Do we have any questions for our panelists?
Okay. Thank you very much. My question is going to our speaker from the AG Accelerator. You mentioned during your speech concerning the value chain, some of the problems you mentioned, transportations. I can rightly agree with you that there is a problem of transportations. My question will be, do you think or do you see the need for us as a country to bring back train as a means of transportation in this country? Because if we look at the way of productions, people are producing agricultural product. Let's look at somebody at Boidu, right at the corner of Sierra Leone. Maybe she is producing, but if she produces more than what she can store or what she can make use of, it will go to waste. So she can't bother go above that. And also, if she thinks, when she consider the considerations for him to move his goods from Kailaun to maybe to Freetown, yeah, it will cost him so much. But for train are more cost effective than when we looked at other means of transportations. Do you see train as a means to bring or to make agricultural activities more accessible in Sierra Leone?
Thank you very much. This question, I don't know, Mr. Yasi, you're from World Bank, right? So my question directly goes to you. I want to know how helpful is the World Bank to small-scale farmers? Because as he rightly said, Mr. Mara, I guess, as he rightly said, in Ghana, there are modalities put in place to encourage small-scale farmers that will boost up their agricultural sector. Like, if I'm given a tractor, automatically that makes me a great farmer. I'm from that low scale to a higher scale, and I'm gonna think big. So what are the modalities being put in place in order to boost up those small-scale farmers to dream big or to go higher? Because business is full of risk, and there are times you take calculated risk, and there are times you just have to take a risk, whether it's calculated or not. So in case my business go bankrupt, how can you come in to boost me? And also, I want to know what are the procedures in terms of acquiring a loan, if there is any possibility to get a loan from the World Bank. Thank you.
Okay. So, I have never actually said this anywhere in public before, but today you've asked a question that is going to draw that response from me. Should I ever become a president of Sierra Leone, my primary project will be to have both a goods and a passenger train from the extreme end of Kailaun to Freetown, from the extreme end of Bentu, which is the border in Koinadugu, to Freetown. Point blank, it's a primary project. The only thing that will come close to that is to have sustainable energy. I forgot to mention that if you ask me to pinpoint one reason, like if they say, of all the things Ghana did to get to where they are, if I should pinpoint one reason, I'll tell you it's energy. I'll tell you it's energy. But I think in Sierra Leone, what I saw also in Ghana beyond energy is the connectedness of their different markets, right? If you're going to the Volta region or you're going to different places, you'll meet areas where you have, for example, watermelon growing belt, and all you see on the road is people growing their watermelon, bringing them to the street. And you see trucks and trucks and trucks and loads of trucks. You see amazing options in terms of transportation. Ghana, what I counted, have like over 10 standard transportation companies that are multi-million dollar, and they have hundreds of fleets, like the VIP bus. Like they have just different transportation companies because they have the infrastructure. If we have a train network here, we're not just going to boost agriculture by connecting. So I'll tell you, I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of the productivity level of places like Kailaun and Koinadugu. If you go to Kailaun or Koinadugu, I'm not talking about the towns. In the interior, you will see plantains and bananas that you've never seen in your life, that you never imagined will be possible. There's a village in Koinadugu called Kapompo. The bananas there are as big as my hand sometimes, but they never get to make their way to the city. The farmers never get to realize the actual returns from them. They basically have to auction them. And you know how people can buy them? You have few traders who will hire boys who will go into that village and they'll have to carry the bananas in their head. Imagine the risk, imagine the damage, imagine the effect to quality. If we have a train network in this country, it will go a long way, like a long way to connect our economy, boost safety. So the other thing that really concerns me is you have, and by the way, my mom is a farmer, so my mom basically sold vegetables to school me. So when I see somebody like that, I relate. You have a lot of women who are forced to take terrible transport, vehicles in terrible condition, drivers who are drunk, like reckless, every day because they have no choice. If you are selling at Waterloo or Dovecourt, you have to go somewhere, you have to join a poda with almost no light almost every night or morning. Maybe it's the only vehicle going to that village. You have no choice. One of the biggest killers in our country is actually road accident. One of the biggest killers. And so we can kill many birds with just that stone. Like a train network will connect our economy. It will connect agricultural sector to market. But also it will boost safety and prevent countless unnecessary death. So yes, like spot on. I'll tell you, if I ever have that opportunity, it will be my flagship project. Like hands down, without any argument. Yeah.
I think there was a question about how do we support small-scale farmers. Still alone, I will say every one of us, we are all farmers. Every one of us is a small scale. And so they are farmers who are feeding us. And whatever they are doing is they are rational. They are utilizing the resources that are available to them in the qualities and quantities to generate the output that they have. You know, it's economics like combining inputs, land and labor or capital, to get in whatever they have. So they are working on the most efficient level of their productivity frontier. So they are the most important thing, and whatever we need to do, we have to help them to increase their productivity so that they can help us more. The biggest support that we can give them is to help them to improve their productivity. Currently, that's the biggest challenge. Everybody is farming, but we are not farming enough to feed ourselves, else to sell the surplus. We are not generating enough surpluses that we can store or sell. So the biggest effort that we can do to help the farmers is to help them improve their productivity. Either helping them to adopt technologies that will help them to produce more, or reducing the drudgeries that they face in their production systems. So these are the two things that government can do to help the farmers. Help them adopt technologies or reduce the drudgeries that they face. In terms of access to finance, it's the biggest challenge for everybody. For government itself, is the biggest challenge. The private sector has a lot of challenges accessing capital from the financial institutions because of the risk that's associated with farmers. I think what we need to do as policy makers is to help to reduce the risk that the farmers face, because the investor, the financier feels that if I give the farmer loans and there is not enough rainfall, and so if the crops don't do well, how can the farmer pay back? And these are the risks that limit access to finance. And also access to market, as Hamid said, conveying the product from the rural areas to the urban markets where the demand is, is very challenging. And so farmers are not able to, sell their products in a manner and in the time that will make them make more out of their, sweat. And so they have constraints paying back their loans. So these are the factors that affect access to finance. And so as policymakers, what we do is to help government to address these challenges. From the bank perspective, we don't give credit to individuals. Our client is government. The government of Sierra Leone is a client of the World Bank. And the government of Sierra Leone takes the money from the World Bank for your use, for your purpose. Currently, they are designing a program to support the smallholders to generate technologies, to disseminate technologies. For example, a month ago, the president launched an e-extension program, an extension program where you can, wherever you are, you make use of your standard phone to access information. Every extension information that you require, you just dial the number. I've forgotten the short code. I think it's at 899. I'll look for it and give to the lesson for you. You just dial the short code, and whatever information that you want in farming, in even accessing tractor services, is available to you just on your, in your language. They have translated extension languages into 4 of local languages: Timni, Pio, Limba, and all the popular languages. So these are the things that we can support the government to make it easy for farmers to access technology so that they can improve their productivity. And so for credit, it's government that has to facilitate, make sure that conditions are ripe for the private sector to be able to provide loans to farmers cheaply. Because if the government has to be providing loans, who will pay for it? Government loans, no one pays for government loans. So that's what I'll add to that.
All right, there seem to be a couple of questions popping up, but our time, we have come to the end of our time. Maybe we'll take the last 2 questions. There's one in the back, and there's another one that popped up by the pillar. Okay, and then the last one, the one right here in front. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I am Junisa Kalon from Sarah Bena Farms. Basically, I want to thank you all for the various input you've made. My question basically has to do with the practicality of what has been said here in terms of implementation for individuals who are within communities that are not even privileged to access of information, nor have the time to listen to any one of us who may try to disseminate this information to them, to the benefit of their farm, and actually giving the economical value to the sector itself within our country. Theoretically speaking, everything that's been said here is quite fancy, it's quite helpful. But my question is this: how, one, the financial sector, multinational stakeholders, the World Bank, IMF, and sorts, can help in decentralizing resource mobilization mechanism that can support these blockchains that we have been discussing for communities that are not even having the luxury to listen to anybody that is not speaking firstly in their dialect for necessary information such as what we have received here. Because I find myself as a farmer, I mean, within the space. But you cannot go to Binkolo and have English to communicate something that is as important as what you guys have said to a farmer who is equally doing great in multiplying, let's say, for instance, plantain, rice, or whatever crop that is direly in need in our system as well as for exportation. Secondly, my other question goes to the policymakers. We have noticed over time that when we have such practical activities such as this, it's hard to grasp them in attention or for them to see how they can revise some of the existing policies that can be in effect to help us, the farmers and business people within the agricultural sector, to improve our blockchain supply mechanism. What best practice can be used, or can you advise that we can lobby within our space to advocate for government to review some of these archaic mechanisms that are stifling the growth of our agriculture within our country and the continent itself? I think I'll leave it at that. Sorry.
Yeah, greetings once more, Constantine. First of all, I want to thank the gentleman in the middle. I was amazed at his facts, talking about the chains of the value chain. And that tells us, it really tells us about the importance of agriculture, that if we invest in agriculture, we can get double of what we invest. Now, to the World Bank. Now, we all know about the Africa Agenda 2063. This question is for you, sir. How has the World Bank been contributing towards achieving the Africa Agenda 2063 through young people with agriculture? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I stand on existing protocol. I appreciate having the two gentlemen join us in this discussion. Mine is on finance. Our view is that we need value addition in agriculture. We don't want to have value addition. We believe in a tripartite value addition. Value addition to the farmers, to the product, and to the government. And like you rightly pointed out, our problem is that everybody is doing subsistence farming. The government has not been able to go beyond that. But we have a model that can take us away from subsistence to large-scale farming and give us these three value addition. Let me explain how it works. If I have a animal feed mill given to me today here, maybe in Bond, all I need to do is get the local farmers in Bond, community women, empower them with tools and seed. Give me corn, cowpeas, what I need to run it in large quantity. I buy all from you as you bring it and empower my system to work. That system, I would have added value to the rural women. I will produce animal feed meal for the country that we currently import, so balance of payment will be good. If I can expand, I can even export animal feed meal outside the country. That brings me a tripartite value addition. But my challenge is, I don't have finance. Such project, can World Bank give us support? We have 2, 3, 4 such ideas. We are not asking for large funds. What all we need is a machinery, small working capital, and a little thing to empower these women to farm for us. It's a multi-stakeholders approach, but that is inclusive. That will give a value addition to the local farmers, value addition to the product, address critical importation needs in the country so that we can move forward. And as part of that value chain, we can increase the livestock husbandry. Our eggs will become cheaper, the chickens can grow better because we now produce feed meal, animal feeds here, and it is being used. That is our own idea. Such ideas would World Bank give support needed. All we need is for the equipment and working capital. We are not asking to finance any other thing. If we have the machines here, have a working capital to start this And then in 2-3 years, as we go, we grow. That will bring a value chain to everybody. And of course, you can assure you, if I had deal with 10 communities of women, by the time those ones are making the money, the other ones will automatically join. And then large-scale farming will gradually set in those areas. This is the model we have. And my question is direct. Can we be supported with equipment or finance or anything, specifically in this area, to enable us move forward? We've been doing more of talking and little action, but we have good value addition ideas. We just need the equipment, the machinery to drive it. If we can get this support, we'll move. That is our own question. Thank you.
Yeah, I think a couple of the questions directly came to me. And let me start from this, the last questioner's point. You are right. Access to finance is the most important challenge not only to agriculture in Sierra Leone, but in Africa at large. You know, it's challenging. The cost of financing is very, very expensive. In some countries, it's almost 40%. In Sierra Leone, you are ranging between 30 to 35%. And it's very challenging for startups to do that. We have been supporting such initiatives through our programming. Hamid will tell you, Agro-Processing Competitiveness Project that he is leading, there has been a lot of support in that direction. And one other project that I am associated with is the SCADEP. If you heard about it, Smallholder Commercialization and Agribusiness Development Project. There were a lot of support. The projects have been designed to address the market failures, which included access to finance through matching grants. A lot of poultry industries are being supported, you know, to produce not only the feed, but also support farmers to do that. But the issue is that, is this sustainable? Definitely not. It's not sustainable. Projects are not sustainable. Projects cannot do. How many farmers, potential farmers like you, can individual projects support you? I think what is sustainable is to help the system itself, you know, to be in a position to support everybody. You know, that in that case, we will be able to sustain those interventions. These are very right interventions, and we need to get those things right. There was another question that was talking about how do we ensure that smallholders who are illiterate can have access to technology. And that's what I explained to you, that the e-extension program that the ministry, the president launched was targeting the less privileged farmers. That is why extension messages are translated into local languages. So the farmer who cannot read and write can access knowledge from the platform to do things right. And in terms of the bank support to African 2060, so 2063, we are with it. We're supporting not only the union, but in our operations in individual countries, like in Sierra Leone, we are supporting our governments, the governments of Sierra Leone, to implement this agenda in their medium to long-term plans. So the bank and other development partners alike have been supporting government programs that are linked to this Africa agenda. Let me also let you.
Thank you very much, Usman. So I think I'd like to start on a note that development programming is quite tricky. Oftentimes, we just realize we have challenges, but we don't factor that there are thousands out there who have the same challenges. Imagine if Usman would just like his TTL from the bank and then say, okay, you have that problem, we're going to solve your problem. The question is, what happens to the 1,000 people who also have a similar problem, and how is he going to justify choosing you? I think this is why these supports are usually channeled to government and to projects, and this project will set criteria to find a way to objectively and in a fair way select people who can benefit from these programs. I think I'll connect this with the other question that the young man asked. I think it's on you as young people to seek information. And there are structural ways how you can seek information. For almost all the sectors where you operate, there are associations. It's on you to try to join. Like there is the SLECAD, Sierra Leone Agriculture Chamber. You're supposed to join that association. They have forums where they share some of this information on a periodic basis. For all our projects, they share information on applications. There are different associations for all sectors, poultry, fisheries, pig and whatever it is. It is on you to join this association so you can access information. Because for our project, for example, we recruit on a cohort-based system. We have set criteria. We do advertisement. We go around the country discussing the criteria. You can apply, and then you're selected to a very competitive, rigorous, and fair process, made up of a 10-man committee that comes from like business people, people from institutions, from government, from private sector, from GIZ and other places, right? So it's on you to basically seek this information, because that's how you're going to access some of this support. The other point I really wanted to touch on also is the fact that many of the support provided across projects is actually informed by diagnostics. So people will go and say, okay, we want to support farmers. They will conduct diagnostics at every level of the value chain and see what are the challenges, but also what are the entry points to support each one. This session is not meant for a farmer who is based in rural Koinadugu or rural Kailaun. No, they will not benefit from this for a lot of reasons. The language, the medium, but also the entry point. So we're talking to entrepreneurs who could own businesses across the value chain. And then you can then provide opportunities to farmers who farm, right? I'll give you an example. Our project is a complement to another project, and Usman happens to be a TTL for both projects. Initially, the bank and the government created the SCADE project, which was smallholder commercialization. This was focusing on supporting businesses who can then provide procurement or market opportunities to farmers. So by so doing, they can provide access to inputs for farmers, but at the same time absorb their products, right? And then the challenge becomes, now if these farmers increase productivity, what happens on the other end of the value chain, right? Who processes and buy from these farmers? So SCADEP can support them to enhance production. Where are they going to sell? And that is how the agro-processing was created, which was then supposed to absorb this raw material from farmers and then process them. And so without directly supporting farmers as the entrepreneurs, if you support entrepreneurs on SCADEP, they can provide access to valuable inputs and technique to farmers so they can increase productivity. And these farmers can then access markets by selling to people on the agro-processing product. This is simply realizing that across the value chain, you have different actors, they have different skills and capacity, they operate at different levels, and so you cannot give them the same support, rather you have to tailor. So supports are tailored. This symposium is tailored specifically for entrepreneurs like you and not for farmers. Their kind of support will be tailored to them based on where they operate in that sense, right? I think the final point I wanted to make is that you as entrepreneurs should also assume a lot of responsibility, especially when it comes to access to finance. Finance is hard to come by across the world. Nobody will look at you and see because you're beautiful or you're handsome and just give you finance. There are a lot of things you have to do in the interim to put yourself ahead of the competition in accessing finance. And so when I speak to entrepreneurs regarding access to finance, I like to first talk about what I call investment readiness. Are you investment ready? Should somebody give you 100,000 today? Are you going to turn that around and then pay an interest on it and make more profits, or it is going to go to waste? And not because you're a bad person, you're untrustworthy, but you don't have a business that can absorb 100,000 right now. You don't have a business that is developed enough. You don't have a market that you've penetrated enough to so the point I'm trying to make is, for every sector where you operate, it is on you to first run a pilot, to learn, and get to a point where you can say, so for example, if you come to me right now and say, I have a proposal, I can buy a feed mill. I'm not saying, I know the way you sounded, you're very experienced. It seems like you've been doing this for so long, right? So I'm going to make you an example on the second part, right? let's say one person come to me and say, I want to buy a feed mill. I'm going to do feed and sell and make money. Versus somebody who can say, I am working with farmers right now. I have a feed mill. We've proved this and we're making money. I've increased and created 2 jobs. If you support me, I can expand and create 100 jobs and sell to 500 more farmers. That is a lot more credible. Not just because he has started, but because there's so much learning in that process. I'll tell you, for a lot of the ideas you think you have, once you start, it will be a rude awakening. There's so much you're going to learn that you can never learn on the table. So if you conduct your pilot, you learn from it, you penetrate your market, and you come to somebody and say, I know this market. I am currently producing 5. I'm selling at 10 and making 3 profits. All I need now is injection of capital to expand. If I expand, my market is this big, I can sell to 500 and make this much profits, then that's when you're ready to absorb finance. Until then, nobody is going to bank on you to give you finance. If you don't believe in your business enough to invest your time, your little money to do a pilot and prove a concept, penetrate your market, and then be concrete and confident, nobody is going to trust you. It's also about credibility. If you face an investor and you can answer all the questions and demonstrate that you've mastered the market and the product, they will believe in you enough to inject money into your business. Until then, it's still a dream, right? And dreams don't get us nowhere. We have to take action, put it to work, and make it happen. And be credible entrepreneurs who are seeking fund, who can demonstrate that we are investment ready, we're investable, and we have the capacity to absorb finance if given to us. Thank you.
This is the perfect statement to end today's panels, mainly because we started off today talking about investability and what we need to do to become investor ready. So as we close this session, I want to extend my regards. Thank you so much to Mr. Yassi, to Hamid, and to Lydia online for the support during the session. Thank you. We really do appreciate you making time to be here, but also supporting our initiative and making it all possible. Now, as we come to the end of this session, there is one announcement. In the ladies' bathroom, someone dropped their watch. So if you saw a watch in the ladies' bathroom or anywhere really, please bring it to the registration table so we can hand it back to her. Now we're going to move to the next section of the event, which is taking us to explore some of the work that our exhibitors are doing. Larry, would you please come and guide us through the process? We are starting the innovation fair, and we'll go a walk through with the exhibitor. Yeah, I'm done. Larry, okay, there he is. A round of applause for our speakers and for a successful panel today.
So this is the last session we had on stage, and from now we are going to move on to some of our vendors who've been here this couple of days, and they're going to talk a bit on their products, how they produce, and what they've been doing. So just hold on a bit till the camera sets up, a couple of minutes, and then we will display what they have for us. So we are starting with Hannah.
So feel free, you can watch their presentations on screen.
My name is Hannah Elizabeth Sagawali, the founder of Coffee Korea's Freetown. At Coffee Korea's, we are processing local coffee, value addition. So we started this business in 2014, and now we are expanding. We are exporting to Italy and Liberia. We are also supplying Radisson Blue, New Brookfield hotels, and all supermarkets around Freetown. So we have newly introduced the cocoa powder, organic cocoa powder. You can get it also at the supermarket. And the coffee, we have already introduced it. You can get, because some people who want very light coffee instead of strong one, you will get the coffee in a tea bag. You can get it also in the supermarket. We have a coffee shop at Samuelis Road, Abadi Road Junction. We have an office space at 47 Ronsab Drive, Spur Road. If you want to contact us, you can contact us on +232 8826 3333. Coffee Korea's Freetown is the business name. We are happy to be here to participate. Thank you.
Next, we move on to Madam Rachel. She's here with Jay's Gara and Fabric Collection, and she's going to tell us a bit about her business and how they do things.
My name is Rachel Mariama Bangura. Me come up from Jay's Gara and Fabric Collection. We they do Gara tie dyeing, and we start this business 2017 because we be notice say Gara tie dyeing be done silent. People more be they go into the European style. So we decide for bring back we African style. And we begin encourage people and for make them go into Gara tie dyeing. Well, it's really not easy for our kind of business because we notice that people are really not interested because the entire business now a process. From the tie, you got to do the tying, you got to do the dyeing, and everything is step by step. So people can find out, say, it's boring, but now business way very interesting and it make money. We cater for all kind people and occasion, and we business don't they go international. We start with just 5 million loans, and now gradually we business to grow. People that know it from Australia, America, and some parts of Europe. And we design them very unique, because we very, very concerned about how we design the look. We concerned about we customers them, how they look, and mostly we can go for customer design. Waiting we customer they want, now we can go in for. We get different design than I so, and then very reasonable. You can put her on for attend any kind of occasion, and it go fit you.
Our final vendor I have with me here is Madam Fatima Tabah. She's from Kenema, and she's here to express herself on her product.
Yes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fatima Tabah, Nongowa Green Farmers Cheerleading Enterprise, Kenema District. I get a fresh gari na Kenema. We dey produce a fresh gari na Kenema District. We dey process them. I get my business space, number 99 Hangar Road, 199 Hangar Road by IDA section. Then I get 42 women then, where we dey work. We organization na in Nongowa Green Farmers Enterprise. So I dey market me gari, I dey process me gari, fresh and smooth gari. So I dey try for talk to una help me for men and they export this me gari from next other country, from here to overseas. Because I thought I fit say me gari is smooth and fresh and good. So I dey package and well, and na gari where it fine. Really, I dey lead to the donors them back, let them come in for help we na woman then. Now we dey process this gari na Kenema District. Please, me people I dey talk to una. They una still for help me for buy me gari. So now that I dey try for tell una.
Where is he? Okay, everybody, thank you so much for participating in the symposium. We had planned to have an innovation fair today, but we realized that there were limitations in providing digital information for use during this session. So it tells a story of where we need to put more efforts in the next episodes, which is actually making available digital platforms that people can use to engage with us and are able to sign up for the innovation fair. But nonetheless, we have been successful. It has been an amazing 3 days, and you guys have shown up every single day, and we really truly appreciate the efforts that you have made. I'm curious to hear from you guys. What are the lessons learned? What are we taking home? What is the top of our minds? Lessons learned? Things that we are taking home with us today. Hello? All right. Can I have this? Let's hear. After 3 days, remember what we said when we started. We want this to continue on. What are the lessons? What are the takeaways? What are you going to do differently?
Good evening, everyone. One of the greatest things I have able to learn here today has to do with responsibility. There are vision, but you have to make it come true. For an example from one of our experts there that's already speak with us concerning certain area that we have to fix. And if you look, he gave an example of the cotton industry. Like for CYLO, we have to understand our level before moving to the cotton industry. For example, if we know that food production, the cost of rice is increasing every day, let's try to fit there as youth and try to bring possible solution over that. For the whole session, I can just coin it to be the greatest thing we have to do. We are all potential agriculture, that we can fix the CYLO that we are all craving on. As already said previous time, that we have rich mineral resources and other. These are just things. But let's think about how are we going to make this thing become reality. And these are things that I have already learned. Thank you.
Greetings once more. My take home is I personally, we are going to work on a branding, because the branding talks about the feasibility of the products. Because once the eye doesn't buy your product, how can someone pull his physical money to buy your product? So we are going to work on a branding. And the other thing that we are going to take serious is the value chain. Because once more, based on the fact that one of our experts gave us, it tells us clearly that there is money in agriculture. So we are going to work on that, and the other thing is branding. So thank you very much.
Thank you once more. I've learned a lot, and I want to say that this program has been a blessing to me. I said to myself I will be here in person. Yesterday I traveled all the way from Moyomba, and I said I'll be here, and finally I'm here. I do have some takeaway with regards to our business. My colleagues and I from the School of Agriculture and School of Technology, we've partnered. We are facing some challenges. Like Mariama said, theft was her own challenge. We had a challenge when we want to transport the goods, vegetables that we bought from smallholder farmers. 90% of them are women. Most times, these goods get spoiled because we don't have a vehicle on our own to transport this particular product. So we will go back again, re-strategize, and look at our challenge like what Mariama did. He saw that theft was his challenge, and he changed the product, the chili pepper, which we normally use here. He changed it to another pepper. For us, we are thinking of seeing ways for which we can be able to connect to smallholder farmers here in Freetown and see how best we can be able to market their produce to our targeted customers as well. We have been targeting the traders who normally sell in markets. But from the teachings that I have learned personally, I will communicate to my team that we have to do more. We have to connect to the hotels and supermarkets, those who need the vegetable produce. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am Salex Kuroma. I think I am very much blessed to attend this particular symposium, and I want to say I learned a lot. And what again I learned that is more important is what I was taking access to finance. I think I was missing the concept. But with these experts that have talked about access to finance, it doesn't mean I should always think that people should give me money, but I need to start something. And with that something I have started, it will attract investors, and I can get access to finance. I think I'll put that into practice, and I'm encouraging all of us here to do the same. Thank you.
Ladies now. Sorry, sir.
Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. How are you doing? My name is Josephine Fonny Kimbo. I want to thank you all for put everything in place and everything work on fine. Basically, me not do get passion in agriculture but the teaching and everything I don't perceive today because today I come. It will help me in my career. My own career was built now on music. I want to be a musician, so I've been working on that. So today, waiting at the go because music is also a business, and agriculture is also a business. So waiting at the take home is the branding. When I want to be a musician, I need to brand myself. I need to get bloggers. I need to get all those things, and also forget the right channel. Forget the right channel, like people who can help me to reach to that stage. Maybe you get the engineers, you also get people that will go support you in finance. And also, what? And also, the boldness I see in the women. I'm so happy that women are not afraid no more for show up and present. Back in the days, for the woman can't team up, look, at the shake also. Now all the shake still. But back in the days, for the woman team up and present this kind of way, I see my sister they do today, and not big day. So I happy way woman themselves they stand out. When they left the man no more, now they name the no more for the day. I will say for the stand out for show we safe. So una motivate me so much, and I appreciate that. But finally, my name is Joaquim. I also they going for a competition where they come up under country report. So support me, please. And also before I go, I beg me watch. I'm going to left inside that bathroom. I beg, yeah. That watching now 2 days you don't take na me hand. I swear to God, a new watch where they give me. I beg, yeah. Take a beg. Would I see for me? I beg the honor, give me a beg. I beg for God's sake. Yeah. You got that? I beg. Not to laugh in matter, and I gift they give me. I beg.
Wow. Joaquim, you just don't steal the show. Thank you very much. In summary, actually in a nutshell, what I've learned these 3 days, to be precise, is that you have to start. You have to kickstart something, even if it's small. Don't be afraid to start. Dream big. Don't be afraid to dream big. If you want, you could have a dream with you and Michelle Obama, or you being the head of state in the United States of America. But what's important is that you have to put energy into your dream. Put more energy, endure, and endure. And lastly, make sure you expand. Because it is only when you expand that people will send some amount of development in your career path. If you keep dreaming and you keep applying efforts and there is no development or a change in your life, then there is no signal of you being that productive person. So I want to applaud the organizers. You guys are so amazing. and I'm really more inspired with all the activities you've portrayed, your utterances, your motivational speeches. I'm all inspired, and I know what to take home and what actually I will practicalize. This message is for you also. You know, Africa, as Barack Obama said, Africa doesn't need strong men. We need strong institutions. So we are hoping for a continuity of such platform and with much vigor, backed up with some amount of support, even if it's little, for small-scale farmers in the long run. Thank you very much.
Who's next?
Good evening, everyone. I must say I'm delighted to be here today, and I've learned a lot, and I must say thank you to all the presenters. So, to name but few, I will give a synopsis of what I learned. In Africa, because in our day-to-day activities, we change phones, cars, houses, but we put agriculture at the back end. So on that basis, we need to be intentional in teaching others, in producing what we consume every day, you know? And secondly, we just need to unlock the resources. There are so many resources seated. We should channel our spending, because there are a lot of things we involve ourselves in that are not productive. So on that basis, if we channel these things to agriculture, I think it will help us. Because me standing here, I'm Emmanuel Dao. I'm an agripreneur. We own a small company that we've kick-started. We are producing coconut oil, and out of the coconut, we also use the coconut meat to produce coconut cake and biscuit, and also the shell of the coconut, we use it to produce coal. So we have our own challenges that we need finance, that is one, and also we need training, expertise, so that we'll take our business to the higher height. Thank you all. God bless you.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to say thank you to Craven for Development for this wonderful platform. Of course, we have learned a lot. We have gained so many experiences, you know, through this symposium. There is one thing I have learned, you know, during these 2 days, and it is about this germinated rice. When you process it, it is of high value. You know, of course, I am coming from a background where rice production is of high demand. So, with all the experiences we have gained, I hope and pray that we can be opportune to put it into practice. Thank you.
Aisha. Aisha, please come assist with the goodie bags. For Instagram, we have Sia Commander. A round of applause. Modukweg J. Darami. Darami. Isata Dora Kamara. I said there's reward for clapping too. Kaba Usman. Very good. Give him one, give him one. That's the kind of energy I like. So for Facebook,
the blue one.
for Facebook, we have Prince Tamba. Yeah, a round of applause. Jonathan Sese. Jonathan Sese. Beatrice Bunde. Med Habib. Prince David Charles. Roizana Tukai Jawawa. Sorry if I murdered your name. Saliu Sabi. Who is Saliu Sabi? This guy wants another one, oh. Bianca Kamara. Then there's a at Dark Rose. At Dark Rose. It's still you, it's still you. Don't come again. Mohammed Rahman. Mohammed Rama Koronka. So, can I have for LinkedIn? So I'll come back to LinkedIn. We have a couple of responses from LinkedIn. So a round of applause for yourselves again. These people like to. Okay, give that gentleman at the back of the camera. Yeah. A round of applause for yourself.
Good evening, mi fambul dem. Una kuche o. How are you doing? We seem all energized and inspired. And we are very hopeful that this is how we will start the new year. And this is what, as one of us said, this is what we are going to reflect in our businesses and to share with our team members, because the business is not only us. So once we acquire the knowledge, we share it and we apply it. Because as we were sharing in our session on industrialization, it's not only going to another event, but we are discussing the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we had many other initiatives that are still in existence but are not as dynamic, that are not useful when it comes to bringing Africa together, when it comes to ensuring the sustainable development of the continent. So now we have a new initiative that we should not contribute to seeing fail. How do we do that? By implementing all what we have learned across these 3 days. And you guys have also given us what you have what you have learned in terms of the supply chains. Where does it start? Where does it end? What are the many ways that we can strengthen them? But also, as one of you also said, how do we make sure that we make agriculture very attractive to the youth, so that through us, they see a practice of agriculture that they would like to replicate. But they also see an agripreneur who managed to develop, to create wealth. And they want to be part of that, because the perception we had of agriculture was an industry, not even an industry, but like a sector that was breeding only poor people. So now how do we make sure that we change that narrative? How do we make sure that we are very specific in our ways of developing those businesses? Is all of the nuggets that we took from this event that we have the responsibility of putting into practice and making sure that when we are doing the assessment of this exercise, because we didn't come together only for the fun of distributing goodie bags, but also for the impact that needs to be created, for the action that needs to be taken, for the legacies that need to be built. So when the impact assessments are going to be conducted, we need to see change. We need to see that you as participants have left point A to point Z, and that you have created those dynamic businesses that become, on the long run, those giant corporations that will in turn invest on the continent, so that we won't no longer be the ones who are consuming, the ones who are criticizing, the ones who are blaming, but we become actors in the development of the continent. And we are the ones who leave the blueprint of a great legacy to the coming generations. So the ball is in our hands. We have a great initiative. We have a great opportunity. History is in the making. Africa is coming together, and we are moving forward. So let none of us be left behind. Opportunities are there. Let's seize them, and let's be part of those billionaires that will be created in this sector. Thank you so much.
I think I'd like to close on the note that agriculture is closest to my heart, not just because of my personal history, but because I feel it's our biggest opportunity in this country. If we are to transform Sierra Leone into a middle-income country, into a wealthy country, but not just wealth that is owned by a few percentage of the population, but ensuring that we have diversified and inclusive wealth, agriculture is the way to go. I take you back to the brilliant point that Usman made here today on value chains. Agriculture presents us with a very diversified value chains that allows for distribution of wealth across the board, starting from the farmer who grows the yam or potato or cassava, down to the household that is going to consume affordable, healthy, and high-quality products. I think we've been missing out for too long. Now is the time for all of us to plug into the agricultural value chains and system. And we've learned today that we need not be farmers ourselves, but there are opportunities for us to use our current skills and training and learning to plug across several value chains. But also, there's so much money across the sectors. Who doesn't want to get rich? Not because we're greedy, but because we can use money to do so much good and create so much impact. I challenge you all, I dare you all to bring that idea you've had for too long into fruition and into action. I'm not just an entrepreneur, I'm a farmer. I own a cashew plantation and I have other small farming ventures I'm looking to improve constantly. Let us all walk the talk. As young people, let us be resourceful. Let us put our words into action. Let us do the pilot, the prototyping, and iterate over time until we discover that $1 million product. It is possible. And I do hope that 5 years from now, I'll meet some of you as accomplished entrepreneurs or even as millionaires. And not just millionaires in new leons, millionaires in dollars. Thank you all so much. I believe in you. I believe in our collective resolve as youth. And I think we've got this and we can do it together. Thank you.
Okay, so the closing remarks would be remarks of gratitude for all those who believed, for all those who journeyed with us, and those who joined us along the journey. And as we said during the opening ceremony, it's not only those 3 women that you saw on stage. Now you start seeing male figures, and there are so many more behind us. You know, I've seen a woman saying, behind every successful woman is herself, but I don't believe in that. Behind every successful human being is a support system. And those are, the support systems are what we need to build. We need to make sure we have those great partnerships and that we have those reliable people who are around us, behind us, and who push the agenda forward, who have the same belief as we have, and who do what it takes for it to happen. And one of them, as I told you during the opening ceremony, is Hamid Mara. He's a blessing to us. He's a refresher. And, you know, it's not just sweet talking. If it didn't happen, we would not stay, but it did happen. So we do recognize the support, we did recognize the efforts and all what it took for this to happen today. So thank you so much to SL Accelerator and for the figure behind it, pushing for that to be happening. A very vibrant, loud applause with the gift for Mr. Hamid Mara. Louder than that. Yes. And he is that humble. He doesn't like it, but all spots should be on him today. Thank you so much, Hamid. Thank you, SL Accelerator. Yes. Okay, so I am told that the trends of the reach of this event across Africa are coming in, so the suspense is building. We will share the numbers. As you know, it's not only Sierra Leone, it's not only you who are in this room. You've seen so many virtual speakers across the continent, but also many more participants who also joined during the 3 days. So we will see what the numbers look like. And what that says is that is a fountain of collaboration. Those are the networks that we need to tap into. So if we were to follow the protocol, we would have thanked the Ministry of Agriculture first, but you know how it is. So we saw the Deputy Minister of Agriculture who graced us today with her presence and who engaged with us in the beautiful manner she did. So we do thank her, we do thank the Minister himself and the Ministry because they all deployed their resources. We also thank the Minister of Trade and Industry and the Director, Mr. Emmanuel Konjo, who has also been very pivotal in facilitating the collaboration with the ministry. We also thank all the individuals whom we cannot call here by name, who supported this and who made it possible. Thank you so much, Tafadzwa Shiganga. You are the finding of the year for me, for Craving for Development. Thank you so much, Tolulope Aina, another one who doesn't want the spotlight, but who also deserves a very loud applause. You know how vibrant she is. You know how pragmatic, she is. Such a no-nonsense lady. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sam Kelesiwe, traveling from South Africa to here to participate, to represent, to break the boundaries and to showcase the innovation and the technology that you're bringing into African agriculture. Thank you so much. I do thank you, participants, both physical participants and virtual participants. We also thank the team. We couldn't do it without you. The various committees, the various committees, Communications Committee, where are you? Thank you so much for the Communication Committee. Thank you to the Event Management Committee. Thank you to the Project Direction Committee. Thank you to the Partnerships Building Committee. And to the great Content Creation Committee, Mina Bilkis and your team, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much to the technical direction. Thank you, Mohammed Osman Kamara, and to SL Media. We gave you the hardest time ever, but we wanted it to be a glitchless event. That is what we should offer. Yes, rightfully, thank you to the Finance Committee. They're the gatekeepers, so thank you so much. If we forget any of the categories that made this happen, please understand we recognize you all, we appreciate you all. Once again, it's time for Africa to market with each other, to rebrand, and to take pride into buying and wearing and consuming what is our own. Thank you so much. To you, Tolu, for the twins.
Thank you all very much. Just wanted to share some of the engagements and the trends we had for this symposium. For Ghana trends, we're trending number 5, Agri Symposium 2022 with 7,155 tweets. A round of applause. For Nigeria, we're trending number 1 with Agri Symposium 2022 with 1,989 tweets. We've had over 115 contributors across the days of the event, with over 7 million impressions as of now. I'm still waiting for more. Okay. So yes, the analysis also shows here that we have 1.8 million reach. So it's just buzzing. They are bombarding me with it now, and it's a lot. So we have, for the period, we have over 237 mentions on Facebook as regards the symposium. We've also gathered more followers, about 130, and 13,000 impressions on Facebook. Okay, so, yes, so we have over 7 million impressions, so that's something we should all be proud about. It's a Pan-African Symposium, and interesting to see the engagement, not just within Sierra Leone alone, but the rest of Africa. I'm sure we should all be proud of ourselves that we are part of a movement, we are part of the generation that has the capacity to transform the African agricultural sector. So like we did yesterday, so let's just do our word of affirmation. I, your name, commit to being a part, to play my part, to the change we want to see, for the transformation of the African agriculture.